So, on Monday, I said that I was posting my last video. I said that I was leaving YouTube. Some of you noticed that it was April Fool's Day. Most of you did not. I was apparently too convincing in my ruse. I got a flood of emails and text messages complaining that I was quitting. Some people felt bad that I'm getting deplatformed and they sent me money. Other people got mad that I was quitting and dropped me on Patreon. Other people signed up on Patreon. That's a pretty epic April Fool's prank for a YouTube apologist. Should I feel bad for upsetting so many people? I don't think so. If you've been following me for years and you seriously think I'd give up after a bunch of keyboard jihadis start flagging my videos, you deserve to get pranked. You should know by now that the only way to stop me, or even to slow me down, is to chop my head off, like Connor McLeod of the Clan McLeod. Now, we've got two things to cover in this video. First, I'll respond to the cowards who are running to YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and Patreon to save their fake profit from my powerful talons of justice. Second, since there is the real possibility of being banned by YouTube and all of the other major platforms, we'll discuss plans and backup plans. Here are some clips from a Muslim apologist whom we'll affectionately refer to as the coward.
The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is very dear and beloved to all Muslims, and David Wood is jealous of this fact. Please, David Wood made a video in which supposedly he had a fake display of an individual as the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. He made this video, and in it, supposedly this individual is acting as the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. Go to the section where it says report and report the video. Flag the video as hate, speech against Islam. We know how disrespectful this is to make such a mockery against Islam by trying to display the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. And then also go to Patreon and also report and flag that the man is profiting off of Patreon through hate speech and hate antics against Islam. Flag the video. Flag his Patreon account, and inshallah, myself or other brothers who in the field of da'wah and apologetics will deal with this matter. Go to the area, flag the video, report the video, and go to Patreon also and flag and report it, and have these accounts of his suspended and discontinued. And when you do that, you hurt him the most. You want to hurt him in a way where he profits the most, and that is through the revenue he gains by profiteering as a charlatan against Islam. Respond by replying to reporting his channel, flagging it, and reporting it to Patreon, and have it suspended.
Hello, Daddy YouTube?
Yes, coward?
Can you save our prophet by kicking David Wood off your platform?
Why don't you just use the same platform he uses to refute him?
Because I'm a coward!
Then stop being such a total coward. I like this bowl sound. Prophet Muhammad, this is the Medina police. Drop the lollipop, put your hands on your head, step out of the sandbox, and let the little girl go! Muhammad ordered his followers to execute critics of Islam. Here in the West, Muhammad's followers don't always have the courage to obey his commands, but they try to achieve a similar result in other ways. They still try to block the criticism by whining to YouTube and to Twitter and to Facebook and to Patreon and to the media and to the government. Absolutely pathetic. Now, this particular guy has been trying to get my attention for years. I've been ignoring him for years, which has increased his obsession with me exactly as planned. As long as he's focused entirely on me, he doesn't have much time to go after other people. But I finally watched one of his videos because I knew I could use it to make my April Fool's prank more believable.
I'm temporarily lifting the shun.
So, he's probably thrilled now that I acknowledged him, but the video serves another purpose. Lots of people are being deplatformed. Tommy Robinson just got restricted by YouTube. Al-Fadi was just suspended for 30 days by Facebook. The Apostate Prophet was kicked off Twitter. I was recently kicked off Twitter, all for false flags. Why? Because there are Muslims who see the racist attack in Christchurch, New Zealand as an opportunity to silence more critics of jihad terror. Let's go through some of the complaints here.
He's a bum. He doesn't have a job.
I work and I get paid, don't I? Sounds like a job. If it's not, then Zakir Naik doesn't have a job either. Neither did your prophet after he convinced a bunch of people that he's a prophet. But let's think about this claim a bit. What the coward really means is that I don't have a traditional job. Now, why is that? I have a PhD and 2 master's degrees in philosophy. Why am I not teaching philosophy at some university right now? Here's a little history review. Back when I was still a graduate student, I would be invited to speak at churches. I would announce on my blog that I was speaking somewhere so that people could attend. Then I would show up at the church and the pastor would say, "We had a lot of Muslims call and complain that you're speaking here." When people found out where I went to school, Muslims started complaining to my school. "How can you let such a hateful man be a student at your school?" To my school's credit, they never tried to kick me out over the complaints. After I started teaching, there was even one Muslim who would stand outside the campus gate and complain to students that I was teaching there. What was the goal? The goal was to silence me. The goal was to get me to think, I can't both criticize Islam and teach at a university. No university is going to put up with the kind of complaints they're going to get over me. Therefore, I need to stop criticizing Islam. My career is on the line. I can't lose everything I've spent so many years working for. That was the goal. Instead, I thought, I can't both criticize Islam and teach at a university, so I guess I'll give up on teaching because someone needs to criticize Muhammad and the Quran. Now, for the record, I would have loved to teach philosophy classes in the morning, then go home and make videos about Islam. It would have been my dream life. But people like the coward here wouldn't let me have my dream life. They tried to silence me because when most people have to choose between their career and criticizing Islam, they'll choose their career. Not the dizzle. If you try to force me to do something or not to do something, you better chop my head off because I assure you, I am going to do the opposite of what you're trying to force me to do. So, instead of silencing me, our Muslim friends turned me into a full-time YouTube apologist. I burned all other bridges so that they wouldn't be able to use any other career to control me. And things were bad for a while. Things got so bad, we had to send our oldest 2 sons to live with their grandparents. We couldn't afford to take care of them. We went into massive debt because I was spending all my time working on videos and responding to people's emails. But as time went on, I got more and more followers, and we were eventually able to squeak by. So, why am I not a philosophy professor? I'm not a philosophy professor because keyboard jihadis wouldn't let me be a philosophy professor. What's their complaint now?
He's a bum. He doesn't have a job.
Interesting. It seems like as long as I'm criticizing Islam, they're going to complain no matter what I do.
And we will call him a whore for attention, a prostitute for attention.
How can I be a prostitute if I don't have a job?
Remember, this man, he's a whore for attention. He would do anything for attention. He's a prostitute for attention.
For those of you who are taking notes on acceptable rhetoric, according to this Muslim apologist, when you're criticizing someone, it's perfectly acceptable to refer to him as a whore and a prostitute. Now, I would never refer to Muhammad as a whore or a prostitute. But for those of you who do talk like that, keep in mind that according to this Muslim apologist, if you don't like Muhammad, you can call him a whore and a prostitute. There's nothing wrong with using this type of language when you're criticizing someone, according to him. So, if you do use that kind of language about Muhammad and your Muslim friend objects, tell him that it's Muslim apologists who have set the tone here and that you have their stamp of approval on calling their prophet these kinds of names. That's all I'll say. Now, how often do you see people on my side of the discussion trying to silence Muslims, trying to block their criticism, trying to deplatform them. Close to never. And you've never seen me do anything like that. But how many times have you seen Muslim organizations trying to silence us, trying to block our criticism, trying to deplatform us? Pretty much all day, every day. As a rule, when you see one side of a discussion trying to block open, honest discussion, you should start to suspect that they can't really defend their position. There's a reason Muhammad ordered his followers to execute critics. He couldn't rationally defend himself. As for the coward here, I watched one 7-minute video from this guy, and I already know everything I will ever need to know about him and how to stay inside his head rent-free for the rest of his life. By contrast, he's been watching every video I put out for years while listening to Every Breath You Take by the Police and still can't figure me out, although he's sort of on the right track.
Unfortunately, this individual has serious issues. Your comments in the comment section, making vile comments against him and saying vile things and profanity and death threats, this does not do anything to him. It doesn't frighten him. It doesn't cause him any problem. It only incites him to do more against Islam.
You're on the right track, but you're about 5 years behind schedule. Fortunately for you, coward, Christmas is coming early this year. I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about me if you want to shut me down. I'm going to tell you about the only weakness I have that you could possibly exploit to stop me. Why would I give you this information? Because I'm convinced that even if I draw you a map, you won't be able to use it. I'm not normal. I'm a diagnosed psychopath. When I was growing up, before I was a Christian, if anyone insulted me or disrespected me, I wanted to get even. But my sense of justice was totally warped and twisted. I didn't want to simply insult or disrespect the person back. I wanted to take him into the woods, tie him to a tree, peel his skin off, torture his family to death in front of him, then kill him slowly, all over basically nothing. So the punishment I wanted was massively disproportionate to anything the person had done. That was not healthy. That's why I ended up in multiple mental hospitals. I became a Christian in 1996, and when I became a Christian, I no longer wanted to retaliate in any sort of physical way when people insulted me. The thought of hurting anyone became disgusting to me. People, all people, are created in the image of God. They have a certain level of dignity. They have rights. I have no right to hurt anyone over words. So the desire to hurt people disappeared. But when people were behaving in a particularly bad way, and the behavior was the result of their ideology, I did have an urge to go after their ideology. Ideologies are not created in the image of God. They have no rights. They have no feelings. So when I saw bad behavior that flowed out of an ideology, I felt like I should blast the ideology to dust because that's what's fueling the bad behavior. No mercy for dangerous ideologies. Criticize them, mock them, expose them, laugh at them. However, at this point, I didn't trust my impulses. So I would restrain myself. Even if I felt like I should be ridiculing an ideology, I would restrain myself because someone like me can't go around doing whatever he feels like doing. But after Nabil became a Christian and he started getting death threats, the first one was attached to his car about a month after he converted, I began thinking, why should I hold back against an ideology that calls for the violent death of my best friend? I did hold back. I continued holding back, but I talked about Islam in a way that I wouldn't talk about most other ideologies. Why? Because out of Islam sprang terrorist attacks, rape gangs, honor killings, and so on, and I could see in Islam's most trusted sources where these things came from. So I criticized Islam, carefully but bluntly. And how did Muslims respond? By threatening to brutally murder me, by trying to have my speaking events canceled, by calling and harassing my school. Why did they respond this way? Well, because Islam only has three basic ways of dealing with criticism. One, you kill the critic or lock him up. Two, you heap abuse on him and threaten him until he backs down. Three, you try to have him deplatformed. As you threatened and harassed me, I thought, why am I holding back against an ideology that's so intellectually bankrupt that it has to rely on violence, threats, and harassment? I still held back, but I would dial things up a notch whenever you dialed up the threats and intimidation. How did Muslims respond? By threatening to rape and kill my wife, rape and kill my mother, murder my children, and so on. The goal, of course, was to get me to say, gee, I don't like all this abuse. I guess I'll just stop criticizing Muhammad. Here on Planet Reality, however, my actual response was, why am I holding back against an ideology that convinces so many of its adherents to threaten my children and to threaten my wife and mother with rape and death? Had to dial up the criticism. How did Muslims respond? More threats, more insults, more abuse, and we reached a kind of equilibrium. I was pretty harsh on Muhammad, but not nearly as harsh as I could be, and Muslims sent me a steady supply of threats to sustain that level of criticism. So I plateaued for a while. But then, you guys started getting dirty. What happened in September of 2017? Nabil died. And for the next 2 months, I got tons of daily messages from Muslims bragging about Nabil's death, telling me that Allah had killed him and that I was next. I was sitting there thinking, are you guys insane? Do you have any idea what I'll do to your fake prophet? But they kept talking trash about Nabil, and for some reason they would frequently include trash talk about my 2 disabled sons. So, in November of 2017, I met with Vocab and John, and we put together a plan for Islamicize Me. We recorded in April, and then I posted daily episodes of Islamicize Me throughout the entire month of Ramadan. It was beautiful. For those of you who haven't seen it, tons of awesome information. And you'll see at the end that the entire series was actually based on a true story. Now, if you check my channel history, after Islamicize Me, I didn't post much for the next few months. Why? Well, I kind of felt like we were even. You talked a bunch of trash about Nabil. I utterly humiliated your prophet, even Stephen. So, I ran out of steam. My wife and I had a new baby. This guy. I wasn't on YouTube much. I wasn't reading the comments. I wasn't reading the threats and insults. And without paying attention to the constant threats and insults, my aggressiveness drained out of me. A few videos that I did make, I had to force myself to make just because people were asking, hey, where's the videos? But my heart wasn't in it. I needed the horrible behavior, the threats, the attacks to focus my attention, but I was focused on my baby and my other kids. So I became pretty laid back. What changed? Well, you guys got dirty again. Threats and insults are one thing. Getting dirty is another category. The Muslim organizers of the debate with Muhammad Hijab demanded that I agree to be respectful. No personal attacks, no insults, no going off topic. I agreed. So did Muhammad Hijab. Then, at the debate, he repeatedly broke every single rule we had agreed to. Muslim debaters had done this before, but Hijab took it to a whole new level. When he was standing there mocking me, after we had agreed to a respectful and friendly debate, it was like he was bragging, "Look at you, you stupid Christian. There you are, sticking to our agreement, not realizing that because I worship a God who boasts about being the best of deceivers, I get to lie to you all I want. And many Muslims seem to love this. You can go up to a Muslim right now and ask, do you have any problem with a Muslim debater lying and deceiving and breaking his word? And the response will be, not if he's going against a Christian like David Wood. And that's strange for a Christian, because you can go up to 100 Christians and ask them, do you think it's okay to lie to a Muslim and to break your agreements with a Muslim? 100 out of 100 will say, absolutely not. So what's the reason for this difference between Islam and Christianity? Your prophet is the reason for the difference. Your prophet, the prophet who broke his agreements with unbelievers, violated his treaties, and lied to his enemies. All of a sudden, I went from feeling totally non-aggressive to feeling like I could shoot force lightning out of my fingers. Now, I have a habit of spending a few months planning when I'm taking things to a new level. You've only gotten brief glimpses of the new level of criticism. I decided to get my views and subscribers up before we really get to the new wave. Here you are, complaining that I had your fake prophet in a video. It's actually 2 videos now, and it's about to be 3 tomorrow. But these are just to introduce the character of Muhammad. We're not even warmed up. I get an 8 or 9 month burst of energy when you guys do something slimy. Here I am, still on the hijab wave, and you're getting slimy too? Already? Telling your followers to false flag my videos as hate speech?
Go to the section where it says report and report the video. Flag the video as hate, speech against Islam.
You know that making fun of your fake prophet isn't YouTube's definition of hate speech. It's not Facebook's definition of hate speech. It's not Twitter's definition of hate speech. It's not Patreon's definition of hate speech. So you're telling your followers to false flag my content. That's a dirty move. Dirty move. How many times have you seen me try to get someone deplatformed? 0. I got to take this out on your prophet. But you'll have to wait your turn. Just to be clear, you're about to see the first in a string of brutal, utterly humiliating critiques of your prophet. This first one's called Jihadi Klansmen. You'll know them when you see them. But when you see these brutal videos, you might think to yourself, is this because I told my followers to false flag his content? Is it because I'm threatening to starve his kids to death? Again, wait your turn. The hijab-inspired thrashings of your fake prophet will continue until you see the Jesus versus Muhammad epic rap battle of history. That's when we're even Steven on hijab's little stunt. Then I'll deal with the stunt you just pulled. And in case you're wondering how much further I can go, trust me, I'm still holding back a lot. I'm at about 35% of what I can unleash on your fake prophet. This mind is so far outside the box of everything you could ever anticipate that I suspect I'll be keeping you very busy for years to come. Now, why am I telling you the source of my amazing power to criticize? Because there's no way for you to stop it now. We're locked in a spiral. I criticize your prophet, you threaten to kill me. I criticize your prophet more, you threaten my wife and kids. I criticize your prophet more, you make fun of my friend dying, and so on and so on. This is a beautiful relationship. What's the only thing that could stop me or slow me down? Muslims around the world being really nice and not waging jihad and not doing all the other horrible things your fake prophet told them to do. But that's not going to happen. Individual Muslims can be very nice, but the community grows ever more hostile towards me and others like me, giving me less and less reason to play nice with your fake prophet. There have been multiple times over the past 6 or 7 years when I thought to myself, man, I've said most of what I wanted to say about Muhammad. Maybe it's time to take things in another direction. And every single time I've ever thought about doing anything else, you guys pull some kind of stunt that sends me right back to your prophet, and suddenly I think of 80 more things I want to say about your fake prophet. It's like clockwork.
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
Putting all of this together, why do I talk about your prophet the way I talk about your prophet? Look in the mirror. If I didn't have this input from your community and I were deciding what I want to do on my YouTube channel, I would probably spend about a quarter of my time talking about evidence for the existence of God, another quarter of my time talking about philosophy, another quarter of my time responding to Muslim objections to Christianity, and the last quarter criticizing Islam. But because of your tactics, threats, and intimidation, I now spend way more time talking about your prophet than I would have. But your community is stuck with its tactics because they were the tactics of the most obvious false prophet in history. You'll continue using the same tactics, but there are these little things called
consequences.
Now, I've told you everything you need to know about me. The Muslims who've been trying to silence me for years have basically tried everything they could think of. Oh, let's complain about him when he's going to speak. Oh, that didn't work. Let's complain to his school. Oh, that didn't work. Let's threaten to kill him. Oh, that didn't work. Now he's going after our prophet even more. Let's threaten his wife and children. Oops, now he's going after our prophet even more. Let's make fun of his dead friend. Darn, he's going after our prophet even more. Let's deceive him. Ah, he's going after our prophet even more. And what's the latest plan?
Go to the area, flag the video, report the video, and go to Patreon also and flag and report it, and have these accounts of his suspended and discontinued. And when you do that, you hurt him the most.
Let me get this straight. I'm a guy who threw his entire career in the garbage just so it couldn't be used to silence me. I'm a guy who sent his kids to live with relatives because nothing was going to stop me from going after the prophet who ordered his followers to terrorize unbelievers and to rape female captives and to beat their wives into submission. Someone had to do it. If not me, who? So nothing was going to stop me. That's my level of commitment. That's who you're dealing with. And your new theory about how to stop me is getting me deplatformed and getting me kicked off Patreon. Seriously? Do you really think that you have stumbled upon the way to silence me? Do you even know what a psychopath is? Best of luck to you. What actually works against me? The one thing your community is incapable of. When a bunch of people are being really nice, I tend to restrain my criticism of their ideology. But again, even though many individual Muslims can be very nice, the threats and intimidation and abuse from your community are always going to far outshine the gentleness of individuals. So we're locked into our positions. And you'd better hope that someone saws my head off, because apart from that, call me the juggernaut, I'm unstoppable. That's why I can tell you everything about me. It's too late to do anything about it. But I'm a generous man, so let me offer a little advice to you. Just because I'm telling you all about me doesn't mean that you should tell me all about you. What do I mean here? Well, if you're going to get dirty, if you're going to pull a stunt like this, and you know that I'm going to respond by going after your prophet, don't let me know which direction I should take things. Don't give me that information. You need a good poker face. I watched a single 7-minute video of you, and you've already told me exactly what I should do. I've got like 900 videos on my channel. But the one that sent you into a frenzy, the one that made you order your followers to false flag my content, was an interview with your prophet.
Please, David Wood made a video in which supposedly he had a fake display of an individual as the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
So you're saying that you really don't like your prophet appearing in my videos, right? Thanks for the tip. Your prophet will be appearing in some upcoming videos, but nowhere near as much as he'll be appearing once I start dealing with your little stunt. I might make a sitcom out of your prophet. We'll call it That's My Prophet. Or we could have a series reenacting my favorite hadiths. How about a Comedy Central roast of the Prophet Muhammad? Think about all the figures from history that could roast him. Wait till you see what this deranged mind comes up with. What do you think about this guy, T?
I pity the fool.
Anything you'd like to say to him?
I think you're going about this all the wrong way.
Do you think he's going to regret this stunt after he sees what I do to his prophet?
I'm positive.
What's your prediction for his fans?
Addiction? Pain.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Let it be known to you keyboard jihadis that you're trying to control and silence a guy who's sitting here talking to a 35-year-old box of cereal.
Risha.
As for everyone else, my subscribers, there is the legitimate threat of being deplatformed, especially as a result of false flags. We've seen tons of people kicked off Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Patreon. Tommy was just effectively shut down by YouTube. His content is still there. You just can't find it. It's been hidden. Robert Spencer and Sargon of Akkad were banned by Patreon. Al-Fadi was just suspended by Facebook. The Apostate Prophet was banned by Twitter. I've been banned by Twitter. My account is still up. I'm just permanently locked out of it. And things look like they're getting worse, not better. I think that the next thing that will happen, as far as my channels are concerned, is that I'll be demonetized by YouTube. I don't get a lot of ad revenue because most of my videos are in the controversial content category. But I've seen lots of channels completely demonetized recently, so that will probably be next for me. I don't think I'll be banned from Facebook because I don't do much on Facebook, but we'll see what happens there. I never thought I'd be kicked off of YouTube, but after having a pretty harmless video flagged as hate speech due to false flags, there's no telling what's going to happen, especially since Tommy's account has been restricted, even though he hasn't violated any of YouTube's guidelines. I think Patreon will ban me because they banned Robert Spencer, who does a lot of the same things that I do. I don't think they'll ban me right now because they've been getting tons of complaints about banning people. So I think they're going to lay low for a while, then come out with a fresh new wave of bans once the complaints die down. So given the direction things are heading, what do we need to do in the long term? Well, we need alternative platforms that respect our freedom to criticize ideologies as we see fit. The upside of the main platforms banning so many people in such a short period of time is that lots of people are getting fed up with these platforms. I'm hoping that so many users get sick of the censorship that we eventually see an exodus, a migration to some alternative platforms. What do we need to do in the short term? My view is that we should continue to use the current platforms until the wheels break off. Some of the most effective places to criticize YouTube and Facebook and Twitter are YouTube and Facebook and Twitter. But we need to start building up the alternative platforms as well. I have a Minds account now. I have a BitChute account now. These are for backing up my videos. If you use either one of those platforms, you can subscribe to my channels. The links are in the description box. Even if you don't use those platforms, you might want to create an account and subscribe so that when I'm banned and other people are banned, you can find my channel and their channels. As always, everyone has my permission to download my videos from this channel and to upload them to your own channels. That way, if my channel gets banned, the content will still be here on YouTube, on your channels. I created a Gab account last night. I don't know if I'll like it or not, but I'll try it out for a while. Those of you who are on Gab, the link to my page is in the description box. As for Patreon, I've mentioned that I have 5 children. 1 is a baby, 2 are on life support due to a rare genetic muscle disease. Getting banned would be pretty rough. It wouldn't stop me, but it would be bad. I already lost a number of patrons because there are lots of people who don't want to use Patreon since Patreon keeps banning people. So I've set up an alternative. I made a Subscribestar page. Subscribestar is the main alternative to Patreon. If you'd like to help make sure my kids don't eventually starve because of my undying commitment to going after Muhammad, please sign up for a monthly contribution. The general principle right now, contrary to my position in my April Fool's video, is to keep growing and expanding. If platforms are going to kick us off, let's make sure we have as many subscribers and followers as possible, because the more subscribers and followers we have, the more it hurts to ban us. So let's all get to work. And you smell that? It smells like roasted profit and fear. See you tomorrow.
It's cool.